welcome aboard. Welcome back. Glad to have you. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Kenny Baker for Sports Sip and Sports. We're going to get right at it. We're going to talk about the NFL Week 11, which started on Thursday night with the Eagles winning 26-18 against the Commanders. That was a very good game, division game. That sets the tone for, at this point, if the Eagles remain to be the team that they're showing they are, then they should win that division and punch a ticket to the playoffs. At the very least, I expect the Commanders to join them in the playoffs, but I think the Eagles should hold on and win that division. So we have the Packers against the Bears in Chicago. I like the Packers in that game. I think the Packers are focusing on getting into the playoffs. So they have to take care of business against a Bears team that I think is inferior right now. So I like the Packers in that game. We have the Jaguars against the Lions. Detroit, I have to say, what they did last week was very, very impressive. Jeff Jared Goff threw five interceptions, five, which is absurd. They were down. They were on the road against a good Houston team, and they came back and won that game. I mean, when you show that kind of play, to me that says yes, we're ready to take that step. That step being to, at the very least, the NFC Championship game. But I'm thinking Super Bowl. I think they're poised for that. At this point, it would have to be a complete meltdown. They should win their division. I believe they should have the one seed in the NFC, which gives them a bye. So I'm going to say Detroit, they're in the driver's seat. They're looking pretty good. I like Detroit in that game. In fact, they're two touchdown favorite in that game, which you don't see too often. I mean, 9 points is huge. They're a 14-point favorite in that game, but I definitely like the Lions there. Then we have the Raiders coming off a bye against the Miami Dolphins. Miami is a different team with Tua, simply put. There is no other way to describe it. For the most part, it's the same players that were there when he wasn't there. I'm not saying Tua is the greatest quarterback since sliced bread, but you have to admit that they just play at a different tempo when he's in the game. So I'm going to go against my team, which is the Raiders. I make no bones about it. I know it's embarrassing to say right now because they're playing terrible, but I've been a fan so long, I just cannot just give up on them when they go down. I mean, we all go through rough times, so we're just in a rough time right now. So I'm going to go with the Dolphins in that game at home. Then we have the Rams visiting the Patriots. I'm going to go with the Rams coming completely across country to play a Patriot team that, yes, they showed some promise. I think Drake May is legit. I say legit as far as, in my opinion at least, that he is deservingly to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. Now, will he become a great quarterback? I'm not going to jump there yet. Or even the fact that it could be happening for him. But he definitely shows that he has abilities and he's not afraid of the moment. So at least what I see. So I'm going to say that they got something going over there. It just, for you Patriots fans, just be a little patient. I'm pretty sure you have a great owner in Kraft. I'm pretty sure that he'll get the pieces and make every adjustments that he needs to make to put good product on the field because they have been, in my opinion, the best organization in history to have a 20-year run of success like they have. So kudos to the Patriots. But this week, I think they'll take the L. Now it brings us to Cleveland visiting New Orleans Saints. Cleveland. What could I say? One week they beat the Ravens, and then they just go out and stink up the joint. I'm gonna have to give it to the Saints at home. Either if the Browns win, I wouldn't be that shocked, to be honest with you. I think these two teams are they're just playing football. I don't think neither one of them going anywhere, and I don't see any success with them. The game of the week: Baltimore Ravens visiting the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I know the Steeler fans are, oh, wow, we're going to beat Baltimore. In fact, they have beat Baltimore as far as since Lamar Jackson has been there. They've beat them more times. It's a new day. In my opinion, it's a new day. Lamar Jackson, to me, right now, is the MVP in the NFL. He also is playing, to me, with a chip on his shoulder. He don't show the emotion like some, but you can tell that last loss in the playoffs at home against Kansas City last year. I refer to that because that seemed like a great opportunity and it didn't happen. I think that was one of those cases of you see how close you can be, even when you think you got it, you don't have it. So you have to just follow through with it. Just take nothing for granted. Don't take no prisoners. I think it'll be a good game, but I'm going with the Ravens in that game. Vikings at Tennessee Titans. Minnesota's coming back down to earth, I think, but they still should handle business against the Titans. They still have a playoff possibility, which I think they will, but you just can't keep losing, obviously. So I would have to say yes. Minnesota, get the job done. It's a road game, yes, but you're not facing a really good quarterback in Will Levis. Again, none of this is personal. It's just my opinions. That's all it is. I don't think he really is that good. I don't think the Titans see him as their future. They have a good defense, though, the Titans. They do. Vikings should get the job done. Then you have the Colts visiting the Jets. Here's another interesting game. Colts had an opportunity. I thought last week they could have won that game. They had a possibility of making it in the playoffs. With that loss now, I'm not too sure. And they're going back to Anthony Richardson. Now, Anthony Richardson is their future. I get it. But Joe Flacco last week throwing 3 interceptions is a joke. He should know better, vet like that. But it was one of those days at the office. So to go back to Richardson on the road, the Jets have an extreme outside shot. I would think that they have to win this game. And it's kind of like reverse. Last week was the Colts opportunity. They blew it. I think this is the Jets' opportunity to at least have a shot. And I think they need to win. I'm going to pick them to win that game. Falcons visiting the Broncos. Falcons, another team, had an opportunity to put a stranglehold on their division. They may still win their division, but I think they're going to take a loss this week at Denver. Denver has a shot for the playoffs. I think they should win this game and really stick a neck in front as far as to make the playoffs against the other teams in the AFC. We have Seattle Seahawks visiting the San Francisco 49ers. Seattle is in disarray right now, in my opinion. They're definitely in disarray. I don't know. If they beat the 49ers, I would be shocked. Yes, it's a division game. I always say that because division games are very strange. It doesn't really matter sometimes who's the better team on paper or even the eye test because these are teams that play each other twice a year, every year. So it's just almost Murphy's Law. In this case, I just think the 49ers know what they have to do, and Seattle just is in the way. So I think 49ers should beat Seattle at home. Then we have the Kansas City Chiefs visiting the Buffalo Bills. Yes, I know. Everybody thinks Buffalo should win this game and so forth and so on. Kansas City, to me, they're on another level right now. Last week's game, by all accounts, they should have lost the game. They should have lost that game. Because if you're telling me it comes down to you blocking a field goal, and even it wasn't even a short field goal. That's what it comes down to you to win a game at home. You know what I mean? Like, really, that just says that they just get it done regardless. So I'm going to have to go with the Chiefs until they show that they can actually lose a game because last week appeared to seem like they were going to lose the game, and it just didn't happen. So I'm going to go with Kansas City in that. You have Cincinnati visiting the Chargers. That's another one of those, if you got any life left at making the playoffs, you have to win that game, and that being Cincinnati. Cincinnati would have to beat the Chargers on the road. They would have to. The Chargers, I think, has a shot to make the playoffs as well. In fact, they have the inside track. Cincinnati has to get this game, or to me, it'll be officially over for them. So when you have those type of games do or die, it seems like they bring out all the stops. Houston Texans versus the Cowboys. Well, I could just say this: the spread is 7. The Cowboys are getting 7.5 at home. Need I say more? I mean, if you telling me the Dallas Cowboys are getting 7.5 points at home, that says a lot about them. Like as far as how bad they must be, because over a touchdown. They're saying that the road team is going to come in here and beat you by. But in this case, I believe it. I definitely believe it. Cooper Rush last week. I'm gonna have to touch on this because I can't recall ever seeing a stat line like this. Cooper Rush was 13 for 23, 13 completions, 23 attempts for a whopping 45 yards. 4-5, like in comeback Jordan jersey number 45. He didn't have any touchdowns. He didn't have any interceptions. Oh, but yes, he did have 2 fumbles. I cannot. This is not a rookie. I mean, even if it was a rookie, I would still think you would throw more than 45 yards on 13 completions. So, yeah. And I don't care even if they go to Trey Lance. He came in and threw. He was 4 of 6, but he threw an interception. So, of the 2 passes he didn't complete, one of them was completed to the other team. So, there you go with that. So I got the Texans in that game. But yeah, the Cowboys are in a bit of a funk right now, and I know Jerry Jones is probably on cardiac arrest because for him to see his team get beat like that, and at home, the way they've been beat at home this year too. So this is a team that going into the season, I even thought, well, they're pretty good at home. That's one thing that they do. Not this year. It's a new day in Dallas. So we have the Cardinals, Panthers, Giants, and the Bucks on a bye. So that's the schedule for Week 11, which I cannot wait to see that Raven Steeler game, and I'm pretty sure you guys are as well. Now, last week, and which kind of is a strange trend, we had 7 home teams win and 7 road teams win, which is rare considering the way the year been going. It's been kind of like lopsided on one or the other week to week. I'm counting, obviously, the game in, Germany, that the Giants played, right? Yeah, the Giants and the Panthers. And so that's considered a home game for the Panthers, even though it wasn't actually in Carolina. So now that brings us to the playoffs. Now, right now in the AFC, the picture looks pretty clear that the Chiefs would have to blow up, just completely blow up to not make the playoffs. So I'm not going in any order of who's the 1 seed, 2 seed, and so forth. But the Chiefs should be in there. So that's, in fact, I think the best way to do it, like I prefer to do it, is go by the division first. In the AFC, you have the Bills, the Dolphins, the Jets, and the Patriots. I believe the Bills should win their division. Right now, they're 8-2. And if my prediction is correct, they'll be 8-3. But needless to say, I still think they're good. Now we're talking about the Dolphins. They could win, but I still don't think they make up that much ground to win the division. Jets, the same thing. The Jets are 3-7, and I don't see them making up any ground as well. That much ground to catch the Bills. And the Patriots, another team that I don't see making up that kind of ground to catch the Bills. So I'm going to give the Bills that division. Now we have the Steelers, Ravens, Bengals, and Browns, that division. Now, quite naturally, this game means a lot for as far as the division goes. But either way, I think they're both going to get in the playoffs. But I'm going to give the nod to the Ravens to win the division. I definitely think the Steelers should get in, but I'm going to give the nod to the Ravens to win their division. Then we have the Texans, Colts, Jaguars, and Titans. I think the Texans should win their division. Currently, there's no reason for me to believe they won't. The Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, and Raiders, again, Chiefs would have to just explode. They should win their division. So now, with those 4 teams already locked in, I think the Steelers would be one of the other 3 remaining playoff teams. As of right now, I would have to say the Chargers and the Broncos. We're in the meat and potatoes territory, and it depends on who loses to who really makes it huge. Meaning, if you talk about a division game or you talk about a team that's right behind you in the wild card, those games are huge. So we'll keep an eye on that. So now in the NFC, we have the Commanders, Eagles, Cowboys, and the Giants. I think the Eagles will win their division. I believe now, yeah, the Commanders should get in, but I'm just saying that right now we got the Eagles. Then we got the Lions, Vikings, Packers, and the Bears. Lions all day, every day. Bucks, Falcons, Saints, and Panthers. I picked the Falcons to win their division. I think they still should win their division, but I think they're going to make it really tight when it didn't have to be. They had a golden opportunity last week, and they let that slip away. But that's spilt milk, so we'll just go with the Falcons winning their division. Now we have the Seahawks, 49ers, Cards, and Rams. Then this is a little interesting. Initially, in my past podcast, I never really talked about the Cardinals winning their division. Like, that was far-fetched to me at that time. But now I have to say it's very realistic that the Cardinals could win their division, which, to me, whoever wins that division is the only team that's going to make the playoffs as far as out of that division. That's what I see right now. Of course, it can change. The 49ers, I would give the nod because they do have, in my opinion, a better team. The Cardinals, they hit a stride. I've watched them last week, and I was really impressed with what I saw. I mean, I didn't say this before, but I'm saying it now. The Cardinals actually look pretty good. They did. So, with that being said, and they already have a game up on San Francisco, that's why I say that they have a shot to win the division. Because if San Francisco loses a game they shouldn't lose, that's going to be the difference. So, for example, if they lose to Seattle this week, which I don't think they will, but let's say they do, that's huge. That would be huge because now that's a division game, as I alluded to earlier, and that's also pushing them behind the Cardinals. So, yeah, an upset like that would be huge, but I'm not saying it's going to be, but keep that in mind. Let me just say the 49ers win the division for the sake of the playoff teams. So now after that, the Cardinals, possibly, we have the Vikings, and then we have the Packers. I think the Bucks, pretty much that losing streak that they're on, it's going to be tough for them. They're 4-6. It's going to really be tough for them. I think the Bears realize what's going on over there. I don't have to get into it. I think there's going to be some changes, starting with the head coach, in my opinion, at least in the offseason. Now we're talking about there's really no one else to talk about. So that's where we go from there. So those are the playoff teams, and I love where we are in the season. The meat and potatoes is what I call it, where every week, every game now seems to matter. No, well, not every game. I'll say it that way. Most of the games do matter because we do have a couple of duds that I don't think I'll pay much attention to. And I also wanted to touch on something that, we have in the NFL what they call Tight Ends Day, NFL Tight Ends Day. So I was just curious, did they come up with a pick day, like quarterbacks just throw picks? Because last week, there was collectively 26 interceptions thrown last week. That's a lot. 26 in 1 week, all teams combined. Goff didn't help with his 5. Flacco didn't help with his 3. You got Donald with his 3. Mac Jones with his 2. I mean, it just was a lot of interceptions. I don't know what that was all about, but I'm just being cheeky. Anyway, listen, guys, thanks for tuning in. I'm your man, Kenny Baker, Sports Sipping Sports. Hopefully you continue to follow week by week closer to the playoffs, and that's when it really gets juicy. If you guys have any comments, any things you'd like to bounce off of me, feel free to shoot me a message, and I would gladly answer it. Or if you just want to go pick for pick, that's even better. So, till the next time, one love.